The Lexington Experience. Nothing else compares. Featured at the beautiful Fasig-Tipton Sales Complex, along with Grand Circuit Racing at the Red Mile. Sales have produced world champions and divisional winners year after year, including the last 5 Hamiltonian winners: Carl, Tactical Approach, Cool Papa Bell, Captain Corey, and Ramona Hill. Make your plans to join us this fall from Monday, September 29th to Friday, October 3rd.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Welcome to Harness Racing Updates Tuesday in Training. I'm Heather Vitale as we continue our New Jersey tour going to stables. I'm here with Noel Daley, trainer, not just trainer, 2024 United States Trainer of the Year, Noel Daley. Now, Noel, you've won pretty much every big event, I think, in harness racing and had world champions, but being named Trainer of the Year, that's got to be really special.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I knew we had a really good year. I didn't know how it would go down towards the end of it, so that was pretty cool to get. To get it once was nice. Could have gone 3 or 4 different ways there, so landed in my court this year. That was good. So
you had a really great year, of course, winning so many big races. Is there one that stands out?
The Kentucky Futurity with Sig Sauer, he was not that sound, so to do what he did that day was really, really good. We were pretty happy with that.
I'm so glad you mentioned Sig Sauer because actually that's who I want to talk about first.
Okay.
Of course, 3-year-old male trotter of the year. You mentioned the Kentucky Futurity. He won the Breeders' Crown. Now he has a new occupation, and apparently he's very popular.
And he's very good at it, apparently. He's getting everything in foal, and they say he's been well behaved because he has a bit of a handful around the barn here. But they said he's been really good there, and the numbers getting in foal have been great. He's ended up. It was quite cool the other day. We heard that they booked Buy Around to him, which was one of my favourites from last year there too. So it's pretty cool that we'll see what that foal is, but I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
And another Dan Patch winner that you had, of course, Captain Albano, 3-year-old pacing colt of the year. Again, won huge races, won the Jug, won the Adios, won the Hemp. Now, he is coming back this year. I'm so excited to see him again.
Yeah, we are too. We don't really get an opportunity to, most of my good ones are done after their 3-year-old year. Unfortunately, he wasn't fertile enough. We tested him straight off the track. I'd raced him late in the year. So we'll give him another shot at the end of this year and hopefully he can breed, but I'm looking forward to bringing him back. It's, as I say, we don't usually get a chance. It's been a long time since I've had a good 4-year-old that'll come back, and he's such a cool horse to be around, that horse. So looking to start him late May, maybe in the race there at Chester, and then we've got him in pretty much everything from then on, but looking forward to bringing him back.
All right. Now, I don't want to really take any credit, but I'm going to take a little bit. We did have both Sig Sauer and Captain Albano on our Tuesday in Training a couple of years ago. But I think we need to give a lot of credit to Sonia Booth, right? Sonia Booth was at Fair Island Farms, and the Ush was Caretaker of the Year in 2024. So, yeah, she's just the best.
Well, and she looked after the pair of those. So they were, they're very different horses. They're both really good horses, but Albano's very laid back. Siggy was it was a challenge. He was always on his toes, so kept everyone on their toes. But no, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. She got to look after both of them and got recognised for it, which was good.
Something I feel like we had talked about in an interview in the past, and just help me with my memory. Weren't they like buddies? Didn't Sig Sauer never wanted to ride in the trailer without the other one or something like that?
Siggy didn't want to ride in a trailer at all, but he was he was okay if he got on there with Albano. We used to ship them every day. They'd go out to a turnout farm for a couple of hours, and he was okay with him. You couldn't put anyone else on there or he'd be a real pain in the butt. But so I think Albano's probably happy that he's not around now. He doesn't have to share the trailer with him, but, that worked out pretty good. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about a few other horses that are also coming back. We have a Walner colt here on a jet plane. He raced or won in 152 and 2 in Lexington in the fall, and you're looking forward to him, right?
Yeah, I own a piece of him, and we didn't give a lot of money for him. Always had a lot of talent. He, early on in the piece, he had some breathing issues and whatever, and when he got on a roll there, he was a very nice horse. He's come back really good. Unfortunately, he thinks he's taken over a Sig Sauer. He's the pain in the butt on the trailer now. But yeah, he's a nice horse, and he doesn't need to improve much to step it up. But you never know between 2 and 3. Some go a little better and some don't. So we'll see. So far, he's pretty happy with where we're at.
All right, let's talk about a trotting filly now. It's Miss Belmar. It looks like she didn't have any wins last year, but she made, I think, like $200,000, and she did well in the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, and she's, another one. She's just got to be sound. Her first few starts, she did a few things wrong. She basically pulled up and stopped a couple of times in a race there at the Red Mile, and then just come screaming home to just miss. That's where she really showed she had the talent. Seems more focused this year. Again, it's you'll wait and see how they're all going to be when the time comes, but looking forward to having her as well.
Okay, so we've talked about a few racehorses. We're going to get to the 2-year-olds here in just a second, but what are your barn numbers like? What's your overall numbers, and then how many 2-year-olds?
Well, we have 40 2-year-olds, which is the most we've ever had, yeah, and so, we'll see, and we've paid a lot more money than we usually do. Like, until the last couple of years, we didn't have many 6-figure yearlings, but, we had some really expensive ones there last year. So we'll see how that works out. It's a year I don't really have a favourite. I do like a bunch of them, so, I don't. But that's been all right. When we had an Oka Hanover, I knew she was nice. I didn't know she was the best. And same with Volume 8 and that. Well, he used to try and hang himself all the time. I always knew he was good, but he always was getting himself in trouble and getting himself hurt. So you don't always know which one. We don't train fast. You don't always know which one's the best. And, a couple of them along the way, I knew from day one Explosive Matter was a good horse, but there's a few of them there that, my second trainer, that Nico, they always liked Albano. I didn't think he was as good early on as Pebble Beach, but he turned out he was. So you don't know,
So you have a lot of people working here, obviously, and you have a lot of horses. How many total then, if you've got 42-year-olds?
We've got 70, 68, 70, somewhere like that. That's a lot of horses for us at this stage. Yeah.
And you have a big crew. So right now it's April. When do you guys have to be in the barn, or when, as the boss, you say, get to the barn at this time in the morning? And then how does that change as the weather gets hotter?
Well, that's, right now I've got a couple of the guys are here at 5. They'll feed and whatever. The rest of them float in anywhere between 6 and 7, and it works out all right because the ones who come early, we get them going early, and the ones that come here a bit later, they get going later. Obviously, if we have something special on or we have a big training day, they know they need to be here at a certain time than they are. Once we start racing, we've just started qualifying some of the 3-year-olds and whatever, that can put that can change things up, what you've got to do. A few of them have got to leave here now. We've got 5 racing there today at Chester, so, it's a little bit of a push, but it all works out.
All right, now we're going to get to the freshman class here in the Daley stable. We'll start with the pacing colts. Callmebigpapi. I can't wait to hear that horse's name when the announcer says it. I love it. Of course, a Papi Rob Hanover out of a Dancethenightaway. This was a $115,000 Harrisburg yearling.
Yeah, very nice horse, and he's worth what we paid for him for sure. He always in a good mood, the horse, always looking to please you and do everything right. So, he's done nothing wrong so far. I'm showing some talent, so that's good.
All right. Another pacing colt is Signal Caller. This is a Captaintreacherous, and this is a $110,000 Harrisburg.
It's got a sneaky suspicion. You know, he's one I've always liked, but he wasn't perfect, and he's another captain, and he's very much in the mould of Albano in looks. So we actually bought him from All American, same as Albano, and always had a ton of go. He could do things wrong there for the first couple of months, so he was, you know, teetering on whether he should have been a gelding or not. But I got a sneaky suspicion he's pretty good, as long as his head's in the right place. I do like that horse. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Toast of the Town is a Sweet Lou out of New Year, and the Grand Am is the great Drop the Ball, and this is a homebred.
Yeah, we got a couple of homebreds from Eric Cherry this year, and we got a couple of Sweet Lou's, and it's funny, I think I'd only ever had one homebred Sweet Lou before, and then this year I've got like 6 of them. So he goes nice, and he's always, you know, he's a big fella, but he's always been on point, you know, since the word go. He wants to do it.
And you just mentioned Sweet Lou, a homebred. Now this is Whiskey Venom.
He's also one of Eric's and his partners, and completely different type of horse, a smaller horse, and he can be a little wayward, but he's very quick. So, you know, so far so good with both of them.
Okay, we're going to move to our pacing fillies now. We've got On Air, a Captaintreacherous, and a decent price of $170,000 from Harrisburg.
A lot more than I thought I'd have to pay for her. I actually owned her mother for a while, and a friend of mine still owns the mother. You know, I think I won the 3 diamonds with the mother there in her, a big Betters Delight mare. I didn't like her first 2 foals. I watched them grow up there when Barbara had him, but when this one come along, I said, this is your one. And I was sort of thinking, because the first 2 hadn't really made it, I thought we'd get I knew looking at her she'd be 100, 125, so I kept going till we got her. Very pleased that I did, you know. So she's the one that, you know, she'll show what the mare was made of. The first 2 just had a few different. They didn't stand correct or whatever. This is the one. I'm thinking she's got this one, and she's got a Pebble Beach one following it. I like him too. So hopefully the mares finally show through there.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said you owned Delightful Dragon, but you also trained her, and you trained the Grand Am Little Miss Dragon.
Yeah. So, you know, that's a family I sort of liked, and so it's pretty cool. As I was a bit disappointed with the first 2, but, you know, they don't all come out looking as they should, you know. But I'm glad that the next 2 that she's had, they do look the part, and I think they'll show up.
Another pacing filly we want to take a look at is Caviart, Amoer Mio. Second foal at a Caviart Alley, so special.
Yeah, no, I was pleased to get her. I think the first one was a Captain Crunch, which Nancy had, and he won his first few races. This filly's so much like a mother, everything about her, you know. Ali, when we bought her at the sale, we didn't have to give a lot of money for the mother, and it was funny because she was, I'd only had 2 out of that mare, and one of them was All Speed Hanover, who won a Breeders' Crown for me, and then to get Caviart Alley for $35,000 that we did, she was always one of our favourites. And this filly's very much like a mother, an attitude, the way she goes, everything she does.
All right, trotting colts, we've got Dollar Draft, a bar hopping, and a $40,000 yearling from Harrisburg. Also, this is a name change from Grogu Hanover.
Yeah, a very big horse. He was later in the sale, and we were able to get him for that price, which I think he'd had a few issues there at the farm. So, but it goes really good. The horse. I've ended up with 4 bar hoppings this year, and I like all 4 of them. But he thinks he's something, and I think he's pretty nice.
Now, Dale Valente Farms owns this one, correct? And you have a whole bunch for them, right?
Oh, we don't have a lot, but they have over the years. They've always had something in the barn. They've been good owners for me. And then he decided to, that actually buy a couple of yearlings this year, and he ended up with actually 2 bar hoppings, this one and a filly, Larita Hanover. So hopefully we'll have a bit of luck for them.
Okay, the next one is Ultimate Betrayal, and this is an interesting one because now this horse is a Calgary Games. So Calgary Games first crop here in North America. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and Nico, my second trainer, Tim Enormous had the Calgary Games. He's a very good horse over there. So he basically picked him out. They went through the ones there weren't a lot of Calgary Games in the sale here, and he was by far the nicest one we saw, and went through right around the number we were prepared to go. I think he would give 50 for him. Nico does everything with him. I get to drive him occasionally, but big, strong horse, and I think he'd be even a better 3-year-old than he is a 2-year-old, but he great attitude, everything's a game to him, so that helps. He's, we'll just start him off and he'll stay in Kentucky probably. But he's got a lot of power, that horse, and whatever he does at 2, I think he'll even be better at 3.
Yeah, Calgary Games was 2021 Swedish Horse of the Year, so obviously a great racehorse. So it'll be interesting to see how he is as a stallion. As far as now, this is his first crop here in North America.
I think he's only had the one. I think it might be the first crop over there too. I'm not sure. Yeah, it might even be the first crop there. I'm not sure, but he, this one goes good.
We're going to look at our trotting fillies now, and we've got Emma's Mystery CCL, a Muscle Hill, and a $100,000 yearling purchase from Lexington out of Mystery Woman, who was a great racing mare.
Yeah, I think Dave Miller might even actually own Mystery Woman there with Jonas. Yeah, real nice filly. We're looking for something. We were happy actually to get it for $100,000. We're a little prepared to go a little more for her. The Muscle Hills always, if you get the right one, they're ones to go. But Winning Key Farm, they just, they really got out of doing racehorses and whatever, but the last 2 years they bought me a yearling, something that they could, pick out something that they could keep in their broodmare band. She was a little spicy at first, but seems to have gotten over it, gotten a lot smarter, but got a great way of going. So, and a beautiful looking filly.
Yeah, I love that Patty Key is still in the business.
Yeah,
I think it's fabulous. She's an incredible woman.
No, they're great, and they just, they all of a sudden, they're just at the sale, and then they decide they're going to do something. I'm not going to do anything, and all of a sudden, we'll do it, and then they'll say, we'll go to this number, and then they'll come back. Well, just go till you get it, or whatever, So they're very good. They never bother you. So the first one, she was just okay at 2. She's come back at 3, but this one, I like this one. I like this one a lot.
And finally, we've got our final 2-year-old, and it's also a trotting filly, a Walner filly, Zuzu Zoom. And this is a first foal, and a pretty decent $52,000 from Lexington.
Yeah, so you don't always have to pay the big numbers for them, and she's always been nice. The group of owners took a piece of her there, but even like the other year we got buy around, I think she was an $85,000 buyback. So, you don't always have to have the expensive ones that turn out. And, she seems to have a good head on her shoulders. So, fingers crossed.
All right. Okay. I know that you are still working today. I appreciate you having us here so much. Now, before we leave, though, since you've basically got accolades that are as long as you are tall, I think this is a great question to ask you. What makes a great trainer?
Oh, I don't know. We have patience. Everyone does it differently. It's funny, even being at this farm, you watch all the different people who have success, and they all do things differently. I'm never there early. I'm not a speed trainer. We don't, it's always a little bit. We're staking a little bit in the blind because, some people say, well, they're usually they're at 2:15 by this stage, and then I don't worry about it. I just always, to me, that as long as they're getting the miles in them, Bob McIntosh had as many great 2- and 3-year-olds as anyone, and he trained in, Windsor, which was a hellhole weather-wise on a half-mile track, and he always had his, so I thought, well, he couldn't have gone quick with his one, so. That works for us, but there's many different ways to skin a cat, as they said, but we do things our way and have patience with them, and I've always had some good staff to go with them, so if you can be patient and your owners can be patient, that's what seems to work for us.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I appreciate having you on again.
Okay, well, hopefully we picked the right ones. You're lucky for us the other year, so hopefully hopefully we've got something that'll come out of this crew too.
Yeah, I just want to end this by saying to all the people out there who think that I'm a jinx, you just heard that I am not, from 2024 Trainer of the Year, Noel Daley. So I appreciate that plug, Noel.
Okay, thank you. Bye.